Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to bring you another DIY Dollar Tree Farmhouse St. Patrick's Day green red truck. I'm going to use one of these red truck wood pieces from Christmas time. I was gifted a couple, so I have some. We're going to use the black and green check buffalo check handkerchief, but you can use the scarf if you can't find that. And we're going to cut some wooden shamrocks off of that wreath. And we're going to use some Mod Podge as well as some paint. Just black paint and a little gray. Actually, we put a little gray on the hubcaps. And then we're going to use some 20 gauge wire to kind of make the shamrocks look like they're popping out of the back of the truck. Which is an option. You can always just glue them to look like they're in the back of the truck. It's sort of bizarre that I really thought that they had wooden shamrocks out. And I didn't see them or buy them, or I don't have any. And yeah, so we're going to cut that wreath apart. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put plenty of Mod Podge on this truck, everywhere up to the hubcaps. And then we're going to cover it with the scarf. This is a handkerchief, excuse me. You just want to be mindful that when you pull it, you don't stretch the fabric out of its squareness. I know we talked about this before when we made the tray that we covered with the handkerchief. But then you want to go back and you want to put in plenty of Mod Podge. Now, I'm going around the hubcaps and I'm pushing with my paintbrush. I'm pushing the fabric into all the crevices. I'm definitely using plenty. You definitely want to make sure you have enough good coat coverage. But I wanted to show you, this is in real time because I wanted to show you how, or actually it's a little faster than real time, but it's close. I wanted to show you how when you can find the edges of a piece of material like this, it's very thick, so it's very easy to find the edges. Basically, look at the hood of the truck and you can see like a white line of Mod Podge. That's the edge of the piece of wood. And same thing with going with the top and around the windows. You see how you can make them out? Well, it's very easy when you have the Mod Podge. Now, I'm filling in around the door because this door is like three-dimensional. It's like a second layer. And also I'm trying to squeeze in that door handle because I want to be able to color that in later. If they're going to give you details, you might as well accentuate them, right? So I'm careful when I'm going around the hubcap not to get too much on the hubcaps because, not hubcaps, excuse me, wheel wells, fenders, bumpers, yes, those things. They're actually fenders, I think. You want to be mindful when you go around the wheel wells that you don't get any on the wheel wells because you don't want the fabric to stick to it. So for the next thing is we're going to take this wreath apart. Now you'll see me use the banner portion in an upcoming project, but I want to tell you, at first I was trying to take this 2-layer banner off, realizing after the fact that the banner is only 1 layer and it's glued on a fake layer. I didn't realize it at first because it looked like it was 2 pieces thick. So as far as the cutting the shamrocks apart, I'm just using my utility knife. This isn't, again, it's in almost real time. I could have drawn with a pencil to get the shape, but the way that they look like that they're hugged together, it almost looks like the bump of this shamrock is in the indent of that shamrock, which works out really nicely for us. We're going to end up getting 3 shamrocks off of this. You can get more, but we're going to put 3 shamrocks in the back of our pickup truck. I also was thinking if I had the shamrock stickers, I could have put one on the door. I actually like a truck of luck is what I kept thinking. Like they all say like truckloads of luck or loads of luck. I just kept thinking like luck truck. Why wouldn't it be a luck truck? I don't know. I'm so weird. So once you get the first one cut off, you'll see it kind of, you start to get like basically an idea of how easy it is. You got to cut a few times through the top layer, and then I turn it over and I try to mimic as close as I can to the shape on the back, and that will help. And then we're going to take some sandpaper and just fix up whatever raw edges, cut edges that we have there. And it's very simple actually. I like to bend the sandpaper. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. I like to bend the sandpaper to get into the crevices of the shamrock, which is really, it's just really that easy. That's all I want to say. Now, if you do have any wooden shamrocks, or you can even use those fun foam shamrocks if you have those, that's really fine. If you can't find 20 gauge wire and you only have floral wire from the Dollar Tree, you might want to opt in for those other shamrocks from the Dollar Tree because you might need just a heavier gauge wire to hold the wooden shamrocks. That's all. I was gifted the 20 gauge wire. I never measured the wire from the Dollar Tree. They actually never write on there what it is. Well, I should say that. I have never seen it written on there. So now I have these paints mixed from yesterday's project because this was all done at the same time. And this is basically Spanish moss mixed with a little bit of white and then a little bit of water to make sort of a whitewash. And then I just took some Spanish moss. Like I basically made 3 tones of the same green. One had more white, one had a little white, and one had no white. But they all mixed with water. And you see how pretty they come out? So pretty. And then I just wipe it on, dry it off, turn it around, do the back. I don't think it's necessary to do the back, but I was thinking since they're on springs, if they get sprung or if they get moved, then you can, like you'll be able to see the back or whatever. So now a couple of hours later, this is dry. I know Kelly Barlow can put hers in her oven to dry, and you guys might be able to too as well, but my oven's lowest temperature is 170, so I don't want to do that. Hers goes down to 130, so she could do that. I'm not. I just wait. And now I'm cutting it on the back. Since this is up against a piece of wood, which really makes it easy, just to make sure you have a new sharp blade on your knife. I've shown how to snap a new blade on my channel before. If you guys are interested in seeing that again, just let me know, or I can share that video with you in the future. Actually, that was the faux wood box from 2017. I showed you how to snap a blade on a box cutter like this, or a utility knife like this. So now we're just going to follow around the edge. Now the hardest part is the little tiny corners that we turn and around the wheel wells. Now I really thought I was being really careful around the wheel wells, but turns out I actually cut a little off of the truck, a little bit too much, and I'll show you that when we go to paint the wheel wells. But I was just trying to get the knife under there, under the piece of wood that creates the wheel well, so I could also shove fabric under it as well. But it didn't work out, but it's okay. Happy accidents give the opportunity for me to teach you how to correct happy accidents. That's what Bob Ross would say anyway. Let's channel Bob Ross, shall we? Now, I was contemplating what color to make the wheel wells. I was thinking about trying to match this green, then making a different green, but I decided just to go with black, like the tires. I might change it in the future. I don't know. It just looks a little dark, only because that I happen to land that black stripe right around the tires, so the bottom of this truck looks like real dark. So we just took, if you missed that because I was talking, you took a piece of scrap paper, and as I was mentioning, you can kind of tuck under those pieces of wood. I just put the piece of paper tucked under the piece of wood, and I used that to get basically the top of the wheel well wood painted black without painting onto the fabric. However, since I accidentally cut some of the fabric off of the truck, that wasn't going to work because now we have that white space, or that space of wood. So I just had to fill that in with my paint. That's fine. You can't tell unless you get a magnifying glass and a lot of light. But you see what I mean? The dark stripe, actually I planned the dark stripe down there, but once I painted the black wheel wells, I feel like it's just a little too dark down there. And now I'm taking that same black paintbrush and I'm just going along the edge. I'm just giving it a finished look. That's the only reason. I went inside the windows as well, the car window, which, by the way, was with a combination of the utility knife and a small scissor. A great tip for a small scissor, if you don't have one, is to get a nail cutting kit from the Dollar Tree and just use one of those little tiny cuticle scissors. Those work really well for fine detail as well. And then I took some gray paint, which I had. This is just elephant gray. I did hubcaps. I did the bumper. I did the fender. Not the fender. I did the bumper on both front and back. I know it's called the bumper one, and I don't remember. And then I filled in the door handle. And I free-handed them, but you could do whatever you want. But I really did wish I had some shamrock stickers to put in both hubcaps and on the door. That really was my plan in the beginning. But I don't, and I might do more detail to it later if I can find some stickers that I really like. I'm going to try to go to Walmart, but I just couldn't. So So now I'm taking the wire and I'm actually doing different measurements because I want them to be like sprung at different levels. And I'm just wrapping it around a pencil, and on the very ends I've kind of made like a circle onto itself. I basically took and made a little tiny loop onto itself, like flat. And I'm going to use that to glue to the shamrock. And my trick is put a wad of glue down, put the wire down, and then I cut off a tiny piece of tongue depressor and I use that on top. What that's going to do is that's just going to basically sandwich the wire between the two layers of wood, and it's really going to help keep it in place. Now, hindsight being what it is, had I thought about that before, I would have painted the little pieces of wood as well, but you know, live and learn. You guys paint your little pieces of wood when you're done, when you're doing this. And then I just repeated it with the other two. Now I decided to make the springs at different densities, if that makes any sense. Some are tighter coiled, some are not, not as tightly coiled. And I decided to put them on different spots on the shamrocks. I made sure that at least one shamrock was facing in the opposite direction, so it didn't look like, I don't know, it just felt like it would be too repetitive to me if they were all the same direction. And then I put like one coming out of the bottom, one coming off of one side, and one coming off of the other side, just to mix it up. Now, when I go to glue it on the truck, I'm going to repeat the same process, and I'm spreading them out into the flatbed. I'm putting one towards the back. I wanted my dark colored one in the middle, but obviously you guys go ahead and do whichever design you like, if you even want to do this design. I did want to originally make one of them also with the buffalo check, but this check is so big compared to the shamrocks that I almost felt like you wouldn't really notice that that's what it was, or it would just look like square, almost a checkerboard. So I just was like, well, I'll just paint them. The greens are very different, but I think that's also what makes it a little bit more interesting, in my opinion. So I'm showing you this 100% in real time because I wanted to show you how long you really have to let this glue set up. The springs are going to want to pull out of the hot glue if you don't really give it the opportunity to cool off and set up 100% properly. The glue is perfect. It will not come off like in the future because it's wood and wood, but you really have to let it set. Okay? And I found that out the hard way because it kept wanting to come off. And then you just adjust them the way that you want. The one thing, now this is optional to make it stand. You could stand or you can hang this. I took 2 of those wooden cubes that they have. I put a lot of glue quickly. And then before the glue had a chance to set up, I stood the truck up to make sure that they would dry in place, that it would stand level, if that makes sense. So a ton of hot glue on the back of those blocks at the bottom of the tire, stand it up, make sure it's level, and then you're good to go. Just let it cool off and you're good to go. And that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. It's so much fun. I'm so excited to have it. If you guys have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share it with friends and family. Anybody who might be interested in making this or learning the techniques. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. I will see you next time. Bye. Erin Garbra. Bye.